Hiya! Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today I thought I would focus on a little bit of a different aspect of health, and that is sleep. Sleep is honestly so fundamental for your health and general well-being, and it's something that's generally overlooked, especially in our modern, busy, everyday kind of lives. Sleep just kind of gets pushed aside and isn't ever really prioritised. However, sleep is so important for your functioning and cognitive abilities, as well as just being able to actually get through the day without having any kind of energy dip or afternoon slump, which I know is common to so many of us. It is recommended that everyone gets around sort of 8 hours sleep a night. Some people need more, some need less, but as long as you're getting somewhere around that kind of level, or you figure out what works best for you, then it is so important to honestly get that amount of sleep every night. And something that definitely a lot of people struggle with is actually getting to sleep. So sometimes you'll plan to go to bed at a certain time or want to be in bed by a certain time, but when it actually comes to it, you just can't get to sleep. As a kid, I was always someone who was very lucky and could just fall asleep pretty much instantly. However, I feel like as you get older, you get a lot more things going on, a lot more work, a lot more stresses, and there's just a lot more going on in your mind, and it just keeps your mind constantly active and very busy. And I definitely have a very active mind. I like to overthink things, and I'm constantly planning and making decisions about what to do the next day rather than just focusing on the here and now. And my mind is just constantly buzzing with everything that I have to do, that when it does come to getting to sleep now, sometimes I do struggle. But I've sort of established a good routine and picked up a few sort of healthy habits, I guess you could call them, that have really helped me out and honestly make me have such a better night's sleep and help me to get to sleep so much quicker. So I thought I would share them with you today, as like I said, sleep is so important for us all, and it's something that a lot of us do struggle with. So I hope that you do find this video useful, and let's get straight into my tips. My first tip is to create a cozy atmosphere. I think at night as you're winding down, it is so important to get the mood and lighting right. I'm all about getting that right kind of atmosphere in the evening time, just to really sort of help my body acknowledge that we're going into my evening routine and we're getting ready to sleep. I love to put my fairy lights on and turn off any big bright main room lights and just get really nice and cozy. I would also love to light candles. Sadly, I can't have them in my uni accommodation, but if I could, then I definitely would have some candles and have some which are sleep associated scents. So lavender, for example, is a really common popular one for people to use at night, which can just really help to start making you feel sleepy. But definitely by dimming the lights down, it already puts you into a more kind of sleepy state, as you've not got anything bright and shining in your face anymore keeping you awake. And I always find that instantly when I do this, I already start to feel more sleepy and tired. It's definitely setting up your room right and getting that atmosphere going can really help you to transition into getting ready to go to bed. My second tip is to establish a good routine and stick to it. So this is your routine leading up to actually going to bed. I think it's really important to get a good solid routine, which you do pretty much on a daily basis. Of course, we will have those days where we're just not either in the mood for sticking to our usual habits, or something comes up or something happens and you just can't follow through with your usual routine. But if you do generally try to establish a good routine, such as doing certain things before going to bed, or doing things in a certain order, or making sure that you've got things ready for the next day so your mind's not on that, or planning out your next day, writing a to-do list, whatever it may be, to kind of just flush everything out of your mind, ready for the next day, so you don't have anything to think about, and also get yourself ready for bed gradually in a certain sort of schedule and sequence, then it can really help your body to adjust to know that you're in that stage of the day where you're getting ready to wind down, you're getting ready to sleep, and that can also really help to make you sleep better as well. I did recently post my sort of healthy mindful night routine, which you may find useful to watch to see some of the things that I do before going to bed as part of my night routine in order to help me get a good night's sleep. So I'll link that video down below, so feel free to go over and check that out for some ideas. Another thing which you've probably heard more and more of recently, as it has become a bigger and bigger focus for a lot of people, and that is to limit screen time around your bedtime. Honestly, I have tried doing this and it does make such a difference. The blue light from your screens does radiate a light which keeps your system going, and it triggers, don't want to get all into the like full-on science names of everything, but basically you have a centre in your brain which controls your natural circadian rhythm, and different hormones and chemicals are released in response to different cues from your environment, and that blue light basically stimulates hormones and chemicals to be released that keep you awake. So limiting that blue light from screens, which primarily does come from things like phones and computer screens, so limiting that at least an hour if not longer before bed, and this will really help your body to increase melatonin production, which is ultimately your sort of sleep hormone, I guess you could call it in a way, which helps your body to go into a state of sleepiness and will essentially help you sleep. But not only I have found that limiting screen time has allowed my melatonin levels to increase and make me feel more tired and sleepy, an effect which I didn't kind of expect from it is that it's also helped to quieten down my mind, because you're not getting constantly flooded with new information or things that you might have to do or people who you need to reply to and new messages and just things popping up constantly. Honestly, turning your phone off at least a good hour before bed really helps to rest your mind, as you're no longer focusing on what everyone else is doing and what else you need to be doing, and you're just focusing more on the here and now and just having a really calming moment. And I find it such a de-stress turning my phone off before bed. Honestly, it clears your mind so much, and I didn't even think about that when I first started doing this. I just did it for the whole scientific reason behind the blue light. I was like, oh, I'll give this a go and see if it helps. But also that sort of side effect of it is amazing and does really help to put your mind at rest. Something else I will often like to do is just to have a really good stretch out, do some kind of gentle yoga. At night I won't do a long session, it'll be 15-20 minutes maximum, and I feel like this again just really helps your body to relax. It puts your body into that rest and digest stage, which is perfect for going to sleep. If you've had dinner, or a lot of people generally will have their bigger meal for their dinner, then it will really help your body to digest it during the night, and it taps into your parasympathetic nervous system, which will just help to calm you and de-stress you before bed. So I can highly recommend just getting in some gentle movement or something like yoga and just having a really good stretch before going to sleep as a way to really calm your body and just put it into that rest and digest stage. Something else that is always great to do before bed is to read. I've never been a big reader, I never was as a kid, but recently reading before bed I have found so relaxing. Again, it's something else to take your mind off of your day and everything else that you might need to do or get done the next day. You get involved in a whole different world. I would say at night definitely read something more fictional or some kind of light-hearted non-fiction if that's what you're preferring, because you don't want to have something that's going to get your mind overthinking or trying to learn loads of new material. That's more better for first thing in the morning. But at night have some light-hearted kind of fictional story which is just a really easy read, and you can get sort of lost in that world, and like I said, it's a good distraction and it tracks your mind away from everything else that's happened during your day. Often I won't even get through a whole chapter before I start to feel sleepy. But I will also say that it is important to sort of keep the lights dim at this point, even though you're trying to read. But what I recommend is getting one of those little book lights. I've recently got one that you just clip onto the top of your book, so that way you can still keep your atmosphere nice and dim and calm, and you're not suddenly whacking on a massive overhead light, shining it in your face as you're trying to read before going to sleep, because that will just sort of wake you up again, which is really what you don't want to do. So definitely keep it all dim while you read. Get nice and cozy in bed as well, especially reading in bed. Your bed is associated with sleeping. When you're cozy in bed, your body associates it with the fact that you're about to go to sleep. So reading in bed can be a really good thing for getting you into the right kind of sleepy state before you actually go to bed. And my final tip is to meditate. This isn't something I'm great at, and it's not something I've been doing that long, but it definitely helps. If I have a night where I'm still feeling a bit stressed or anxious about something, or my mind just won't rest, then doing a sort of 5-10 minute meditation before bed, it doesn't have to be long, using something like the Headspace app, or I also sometimes go to YouTube as well to look up some meditations. On that meditation app Headspace, they actually have a whole sleep section, which is perfect for when you're going to bed, as those podcasts really get you tapping into sleep and thinking about the ways in which you can tackle going to sleep better as well. And they also even have sort of sleeping podcasts on there, and these are great for just putting your phone aside and trying to get to sleep listening to one of these, because they honestly, the voice on them is so sort of sleepy and drowsy that it just makes you feel sleepy, and listening to something like that at bedtime is so calming. So it doesn't even have to be a proper full-on breathing meditation sat upright. Like I said, you can use these sleep podcasts which just help you feel really relaxed and really sort of sleepy, and it's so great. I've loved using those recently, and I will just leave it playing while I drift off to sleep, and it's honestly so great. Not that I remember half of what's being said, but it's almost like being read a story. I know that's another thing people like to do, is listen to an audiobook before bed as well, so you could try that out too. But definitely listening to something like that can really help you to drift off, because you're taking your focus off trying to get to sleep, because often when you try harder to get to sleep, it only actually makes it harder, and it's a lot less likely that you'll actually fall asleep. So listening to something else is a key distraction, but it makes you feel sleepy and actually puts you to sleep as well, which is perfect. So those were all my sort of how to get to sleep quicker, healthy habits that hopefully you'll find useful and are things that you can start to incorporate more into your life if you do struggle to get to sleep, or like I said, if you're like me and have a really busy mind which you just find hard to quieten down before getting to sleep and going to bed. Then hopefully this video would have been some use to you. Let me know if you try any of these tips out and how you find them working for you, if you find that they work for you, or if there's any of these that you already do. Let me know all of that down below in the comments, as well as things that you might already do that you find useful and helpful. I'd love to know more. Obviously there's probably a lot more things out there that you can do to help you to sleep, so let me know some of your healthy habits for getting to sleep as well. And if you have enjoyed this video and found it useful, be sure to smash a big thumbs up on it, as well as clicking on that little red subscribe button down below. If you're new to my channel, it would be amazing if you could do that. And don't forget there's also that notifications bell that you can tap onto so that you're notified whenever I upload, which is every Wednesday and Sunday at 4 PM UK time. And I will be sure to see you very soon with a brand new video. Bye!